Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a truly vital role in dental education, your gig as a simulated patient for the upcoming communication skills course. You aren't just a volunteer, you're a living, breathing case study. So, we're going to dive into some really vivid character profiles using colorful sketches in our minds to help you visualize your performances and bring them to life.
Wow, you can just feel the sheer intensity of the emotion in that quote from patient case number 10, Nora Lizzetti. As a simulated patient, you aren't just reciting medical facts off a clipboard. You are stepping right into deeply emotional, vulnerable scenarios, just like Nora's, complete with the panic and the physical shaking. You're providing the human element that, frankly, a textbook just cannot teach. Okay, let's quickly run through our agenda. We'll cover your role as an SB, giving constructive student feedback, everyday dental communication cases, navigating high emotions, specialized patient needs, and finally, shaping future healthcare heroes. Let's get right into it. Starting off with Section 1, your role as an SP. So your performance basically boils down to 3 distinct phases to make sure the students get a consistent, realistic assessment. First is preparation. You need to know your character's medical history and their exact chief concern inside and out. Second, the role play. This is where you bring the physical demeanor, maybe it's anxiety, maybe you're totally calm, or maybe you're in real pain. And third is communication. If a student uses heavy medical jargon, your job is to look confused and ask for a simpler explanation, exactly like a real patient would.
Now, this is absolutely crucial. There's a massive difference between just reading a script and really inhabiting your colorful character. If you're playing a patient with severe arthritis who struggles to brush their teeth, you can't suddenly have perfect fluid hand gestures halfway through the consultation, right? Consistency is everything. Your responses have to stay the same across different sessions with different students, so everybody is graded on a completely level playing field.
All right, moving along to Section 2, giving constructive student feedback. So, you might be wondering, how on earth do you correct a student without breaking character? How do you smoothly transition from a terrified patient to an objective evaluator? Well, once the clinical scenario officially ends, you step out of your character's shoes and put on your educator hat. But remember, your feedback needs to be constructive and empathetic. You're focusing heavily on key communication metrics, not clinical accuracy. You aren't grading them on whether they chose the perfect composite resin for a filling. You're grading them on, did they listen to you? Did they make eye contact? Did they validate your fears? Giving really specific examples, like, hey, I felt relieved when you explained the steps before picking up that mirror, is incredibly valuable for their growth. Let's jump to Section 3, cases, everyday dental communication. Time to open up the casting call and look at our first group of vibrant patient archetypes, the everyday communicators. These are the bread and butter interactions of any dental clinic. Just think about the variety here. You might play Ahmad, a construction worker who smokes and only visits when he's in absolute agony. Or maybe Chen Jai, a super stressed marketing executive demanding a mathematically perfect smile for her wedding in 3 months. Each of these colorful character profiles requires the student to practice essential everyday skills like expectation management, clear instruction, and deep empathy. Picture this specific character sketch in your head for a second. Lim Kokliong. He's a young guy holding an energy drink, just shrugging his shoulders. He brushes maybe once a day, usually just before going out, and chugs energy drinks nonstop. Capturing that specific, stubborn apathy is exactly how you'll test the student's motivational interviewing skills. The student can't just lecture Lim. They actually have to figure out how to make him care about his bleeding gums without totally alienating him. Let's turn up the heat in Section 4. Cases. Navigating high emotions. For these roles, you are really going to need to dig deep into your acting toolkit to portray genuine anger, deep-seated trauma, and intense physical anxiety. These are the make-or-break moments where a dental student's bedside manner is truly put to the test. If they rush these interactions, your character is either going to walk right out of the clinic or severely escalate the conflict. Take Priya Nair, for example. As Priya, you have to project strong, defensive body language to test the student's conflict resolution. She's in persistent pain 2 weeks after a root canal, admits she didn't follow post-care instructions, but is totally convinced she received substandard care due to her ethnicity. She's threatening to post negative reviews. You aren't just angry, you're in pain and feeling marginalized. The student must demonstrate active listening without interrupting, acknowledging your frustration before they even attempt to defend the clinic. On the total opposite end of the emotional spectrum is pure, unadulterated fear.
If you get assigned a phobia case like Anil Prasad, who had a traumatic extraction 15 years ago, your physical performance is the literal test of the student's trauma-informed care. You've got to show sweaty palms, rapid breathing, flinching at sudden movements. The student has to learn to offer gradual exposure, set up clear hand signals for taking breaks, and ensure you feel in total control. If they brush off your fear, you have to show them that the trust is absolutely broken.
Okay, heading into our final casting group in Section 5, Cases, Specialized Patient Needs.
This is where we see the beautifully complex tapestry of public health. You might be Sidi Aisha, who is observing Ramadan fasting and prefers a female dentist, asking if toothpaste breaks her fast. Or maybe you're playing the concerned dad of an 8-year-old boy with autism spectrum disorder who is highly sensitive to bright clinic lights and loud noises. Every single scenario demands the student tailor their approach entirely to that patient's unique reality.
Imagine portraying Zainab, a 22-year-old college student. She has visible erosion on the back of her teeth and enlarged glands, classic signs of bulimia nervosa, but she is highly secretive and really reluctant to discuss her medical history. She brushes immediately after purging, which is super harmful, and drinks highly acidic beverages. The student dentist has to gently and skillfully probe without sounding accusatory or breaking her fragile trust, because if they judge you, you shut down. By mastering these specific, specialized behaviors, you are guaranteeing these dental students are ready for the real world. For example, if you're playing Wang Chi Meng, a wheelchair user with cerebral palsy who struggles with a traditional toothbrush, the student has to focus on empowerment, what you can do independently, while suggesting adaptive techniques. Or, if you're the 76-year-old Rajesh Kumar with early-stage Alzheimer's, the student must realize they have to actively include your caregiver in the instructions. It's really about treating the whole person, not just the mouth.
Finally, Section 6, Shaping Future Healthcare Heroes.
Let's look at the big picture here. You are not just reciting lines from a page. You're directly shaping the empathy, bedside manner, and clinical communication of tomorrow's dental professionals. Your commitment to these colorful, realistic character sketches directly translates to better, more compassionate patient care out there in the real world. When a student stumbles through a conversation with your angry, anxious, or secretive character today, they're learning the exact lessons they need to succeed with a real patient tomorrow. You're giving them a safe space to fail, learn, and grow.
So, dive into those patient profiles, find the motivation behind their chief concerns, review your playbook, and get into character. We'll see you in the Communication Skills Workshop. The only question left is, who will you become today? And whose future will you change tomorrow?